Masters of Innovation.
Looking towards the future with anticipation, raising up the technological conversation from the east to the west and all across the nation. If knowledge is the cure, then we got the medication. We're the masters of innovation, the masters of innovation. We're the masters of innovation, the masters of innovation.
Welcome to the Entrepreneurial CPA channel presents the Masters of Innovation, where we take a deep dive into the knowledge needed to break free the dogma holding you back in your everyday life. We are here with a cutting-edge innovation. You need to rethink how you look at the world and how you look at the problems you're faced with. I'm Garrett Wagner, Entrepreneurial CPA, your Titan of the Titanic, here to hit you up with the knowledge today. And I'm joined by the man, the legend, the master of knowledge, Joe Brunsman of CPL Brokers. And Joe, I thought in today's show we can talk about, we did this on a panel one time, we'll kind of expand on it. And we know it's important that we need a more gender equality in the accounting profession. Well, let's take a step deeper into that. It really could be innovative. Why is it so important that we need more gender equality in the accounting profession?
Sure. So, I'm my bachelor's is in engineering, so I come at this from purely pragmatic reasons, just in terms of making sure that firms have somebody that's going to take their place in the future. And so, with that, women are just outperforming men in just about every metric necessary to actually become a CPA in the future.
So hold on. For two males here on the call, so what you're telling me is that statistics right now are showing that women are outperforming men at like everything?
Everything that's really necessary to become an accountant. So for example, obviously if you're going to go to college, you probably need to graduate high school, right? Or at least have a GED, right?
Okay.
Basically. So if you look at the statistics in high school, women are outperforming men or I guess girls are outperforming boys in GPA, class rank, number of AP and honor courses, enrollment in math and science, which obviously you need, some propensity towards math to become an accountant.
Okay.
And most importantly, graduation rates. And that gap is widening every single year.
So did the boys have anything? Is there any
they do better at sports maybe. So there was a recent study that came out from the OECD that essentially just kind of mirrored the studies that I've looked at as well. That, women just, at least on the education front, are just far surpassing boys in just about every regard.
So let's just assume that's, we'll never hear the end of this show, but women are outperforming men. Us men,
Sure.
Our role in the world is diminishing. Women are outperforming men, so we already have a gender disparity in the accounting profession. There's more men, especially in leadership roles, than women. Mm-hmm. So I think I get where you're going. If that's going to drive that gap further apart, if we don't fix it, if we don't find a way to bridge that.
Sure. Oh, certainly. Yep. So, as firms start looking towards the future, right, especially at like the partner level, and they're trying to figure out who will eventually start taking their place, they increasingly have to make their firm appealing to women, because if they don't, they're just not going to have the numbers of people necessary that could potentially take their jobs. So, in a large regard, it's like if you don't make your firm female friendly, you're facing your own extinction by doing that. So, outside of all the technology that's coming down the pike, if you just don't have people, you're at a huge, huge strategic disadvantage because of that.
And I think, Joe, and we also talk about this, and it's not like you need to make your firm, you need to repaint your firm pink. That's just ridiculous.
Oh, certainly.
But at the end of the day, how do you attract, retain, and engage people of either gender? If you follow those basic principles, it's going to work on both sides. So, attract, retain, and engage, something that we talk a lot about. Okay, what's the why behind your firm organization, and what's the vision? Can you have that and explain that to your people, and I'll move in that direction? And if you can do that, I would think you're going to still be able to attract, retain, and engage women as well as men without like doing something that as a man you might feel like is whatever. That's not the point of this. The point is, let's be innovative and grow our firm with the right people.
Certainly. So, the CIA, they actually spent over $1 million trying to figure out how they can recruit more women.
That's chump change.
Well, those are tax dollars. It wasn't those $300 toilet seats, but they spent over $1 million trying to figure this out because, obviously, the CIA kind of has both advantages and disadvantages, specifically for women. So they found that the advantages were it's a prestigious place to work. Obviously, you're, a member of the CIA, and you have the opportunity to travel. And then on the disadvantage side,
you could die.
You could die. It's intrusive on the family life. There's this perception of a lifetime commitment. You might have to relocate, a lengthy hiring process, a male-dominated culture. So, when I read that study, that reminded me a lot of, kind of the pros and potential cons of working in a CPA firm, right? Being an accountant's a prestigious white-collar profession. You could have the opportunity to travel, especially if you're, say, an auditor, but obviously tax season is intrusive on your family life. People think that you need to put in 20 years to become a partner. So, a lot of this is kind of at that ground level is just kind of, at your CPA firm, overcoming some of those stereotypes, right? So if you don't engage those in the hiring process, or at least in the recruitment process, people are just going to go what they naturally assume is the correct answer. So unless you can tell women specifically, just because we hire you doesn't mean that you're going to have to work 80 hours a week for the next 20 years to become a partner, right? Like if you're going to have kids, we're going to be flexible with that. If you have to take your kids to a doctor's appointment, we're going to be flexible with that as well because we understand, what being a parent means. Mm-hmm. So there's a lot of things there that firms can really kind of do for free just on the front end to really support that. Yeah,
and once again, I'll get it for a lot of that. It's that those principles are going to apply to both genders.
Absolutely.
So at our firm, we have unlimited PTO.
Mm-hmm.
So one of our employees just took off 3 weeks because his father lives out of the country, comes to the States once every 5 to 10 years. His father was coming to the States, wanted to block off a big chunk with him. So he's taken 3 weeks off. That's fine.
Certainly.
He's still a valuable member of our team, of our organization. He doesn't have to work 100 hours in the weeks before to be able to do that. We provide that flexibility because it's a value add that we can do. He doesn't need to move up, work 80 hours a week every single week like a robot and have no life. That's going to demotivate and turn away any gender and any people.
Exactly. So, any benefit that you're going to afford to women, right, just in terms of kind of the legality of it, you need to also afford that to men. So, for example, you talked about flexible working arrangements, mm-hmm. right, where, your staff member can take that time off for a very distinct family need that's important to them. The studies have shown, regardless of firm size, that the percentage of women who utilized a working or flexible working arrangement before becoming partner, it's through the roof regardless of firm size. So the majority of women who became partners on the way to going there had some sort of flexible working arrangement. So, that's something it's going to take time to implement that. It's going to take a lot of forethought to really kind of make that happen. There's going to be some stumbling blocks, but kind of the opposite side of the coin there is if firms don't do it, if they push that off, they're losing potentially 50% of their workforce. And at a time where, it's just so hard to get anybody, why not try and keep at least the people that you have? And then once you have that culture inside of your firm that's, really friendly to, say, being a parent, you're not expected to be on the cell phone 24 hours a day. You can use that to reinforce your recruitment anyways. And now you have a whole staff of people who can go out and really, sing the praises of your firm that, hey, yeah, they had a kid, they had to go to some sort of medical appointment, and the firm let them do that because they're understanding of, what that kind of work-life balance actually means.
I love it. And let's tie this back to kind of the concept of innovation, because what you're saying there, flexible working arrangements, unlimited PTO, that's been around for a while. But why do we need it? What's innovative about this? To your earlier point, if we don't do this, we can run a situation where less and less men are graduating from college because men seem to be getting dumber. Now
Indeed.
there's women coming in the accounting pool, and if we're, as a firm organization, we're unappealing to women, our already narrow talent pool is going to get infinitely smaller, and it's going to pinch us even more to be out of business. And we've got to find new reasons to drive this innovation and change in organization. And today's point is recognize the fact that the graduation rates from college are shifting in the gender dynamic, and we've got to make sure we're not turning away a big block of those potential job candidates.
Exactly. So if you go back, women started surpassing men in college enrollment rates in 1980, and that gap has only increased since then. So I believe this year, Department of Labor has said about 1.24 million more women will graduate college than men. So in a profession that requires a college degree to get a CPA license, you have to kind of think strategically, and you have to be innovative about how you're going to both retain the women inside of your firm, as well as really attract them in the future, or you won't have a firm.
And then you're done, and then you can just go home. So if that's what you mean, innovation means to you, just like closing doors and going home, keep on that path. It sounds like you'd be set. You can keep a male-focused locker room mentality. But if that's not what you want, it's time to be innovative. And it's time to make your firm attractive so you can attract, retain, and engage the right type of talent. Recognize that more and more of that talent coming out statistically is going to be females than male. From a purely statistical standpoint, no judgment here. The research just shows more and more college grads and accounting grads as a subsect will be females than males as we move forward. Love it. If you got more questions on this, you want to talk more about this, reach out to Joe or myself, LinkedIn, Twitter, where it's at. We're always ready to help. And importantly, I want you to take this from me as we walk away. If you're inside a CPA firm, you need to reach out to Joe ASAP for help with your insurance, cyber insurance needs at your firm, period. I cannot tell you how many times we've leveraged Joe to help on those type of matters. And it's an absolute blessing for us to have him on the team. So don't wait another minute. There's a link below. Click on it now. Get in touch with Joe. Don't forget, click the little link up there. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. And as always, we challenge you watching today to take action to change the world and invest in yourself.